Hey everybody, it's me, Jara. It is time for the November Q&A. I'm coming down with something I feel, so if I feel a little subdued, that's why. But it's been a long couple of months, and I'm glad to be, getting some little bit of time off. And here to answer your Q's with some A's. Anna writes, where or when do you feel you most belong? That's a tough one, and I told her that when I first got it from her because, to be quite frank, I don't feel like I belong in a lot of situations. It's been something that's plagued me a lot in my life. The really only time I do is when I'm making something, and only at specific times when I'm making something, when I'm deeply enmeshed in it and I'm making a song or a poem or a story, or I'm on stage or working on a film and working actively with the people on stage, and I feel energized and I feel connected. After that, I can be with those same people and still feel so anxious and awkward and depressed and overwhelmed without the work itself. And it's a tough thing for me. It's something I've struggled with all my life. But I feel the only time I really belong is when I am making things. Meredith asks, what was the best part of the Hobo experience? How do I feel now that it's over? Well, the best part of King of the Hobos in November, which had a 3-week run in Brooklyn, I have to say was the updates. I really like how the changes shaped the piece. I think Abigail and I did some really great adjustments. I think the Hobo crowd interaction, the interactivity, the idea of using more audience participation, having audience members be Hobo mourners was much more inspired. I think it gave them more things to do in the beginning of the show, which gave them a more vested interest when things got serious. And it paid off time and again. There was some really wonderful, sweet, surprising, hysterical moments where I got to ad lib, or I'd see, a friend of mine, act in a way I hadn't seen them before. How do I feel now that it's over? I feel sad, obviously. I'm sad that it's done, that I spent all year really focusing on that. And it's gone now. And I'm sad that, while some very wonderful people got to see it, it was a small amount of people. And there's a part of me that wished more people would have seen it and wished that it had a more success. But overall, I'm beyond excited with what Abigail and Becky and Rocky and the whole production team did to make the show come to life. My mother asks, what's next artistic-wise? Well, right now it's applying for a fellowship because I need money. And the deadline for that is January 16th. It's going to be for the New York Fellowship of the Arts, and I'm going to submit for poetry and for playwriting and possibly for music, but depends. And so that's what I'm going to consume most of my time with for this month and a little bit of next month, in between fighting off whatever I've got right now. And lastly, Abigail writes, your top 3 dream roles. I thought about this one, and then I laughed because I thought how it has not changed in over a decade. Because this is a question you get asked time and time again when you're in college or when you're doing about me profile stuff. People always seem to ask you that as a way to, prime you for the things you want to do or the type of characters you want to play. Sweeney Todd always comes back to me. I'd like to be able to have the chops and the star power to do it on a vast professional level, i.e. a Broadway revival or, a movie version or whatnot. I love the music. I think the character is a very well-written character. I'm a big Sondheim fan, and I think that Lynn Caru's version is by far just a heartbreakingly honest, vulnerable portrayal of him, and I think it's a very hard yardstick to measure oneself by, but he when I first heard it, I just thought, wow, this is a character that I would love to play one day. When it comes to Shakespeare, I never went for the lead roles. I mean, when I was younger, I always thought Richard III and stuff like that, and I have played Richard III, albeit for the Henrys, but I always think they're overwritten. And I always think that after a while, you lose the flavor of the gum, so to speak. And so for me, for the tragedies especially, I'm always fascinated with the roles of those who steadfastly, out of love, out of blind loyalty and fealty, stick with the doomed protagonist, no matter what. In Hamlet, it's Horatio, and then for this next second role, it's Kent. I would love to play Kent on a major level for King Lear. I think Kent is just so understated. Not just in the fact that in the first beginning of the play, he's attempting to be the voice of reason for Lear, gets exiled, but then instead of doing the commonsensical thing, which would be just, starting a new life, going away, disguises himself and ingratiates himself back into Lear's graces, delivers one of the best monologues on earth with invective swears and so much foul language. And then finally, when Lear himself is overcome by all the things he does, essentially sacrifices his own life out of love for Lear. It's such a compelling role. And lastly, and this one has changed with time, I'd like to reach a point in my adult, grown upness where I could play the baker in Into the Woods and not always have to be the weird, creepy guy and be actually a well rounded, fatherly type. Because, one, that's such a wonderful, sweet part, and I think I've seen too many bakers come off looking a little bit cocksure. It'd be nice to have, especially the way I do it, is have the baker as somebody who is a man of faults, true, but overall is just as compelling, if not is more compelling than some of the more erratic characters. Now, questions for you. What is the most favorite gift you have ever given someone over the holidays? And number two, what is a common ritual that you do with your friends or family during these holidays? Now, I'll most likely send you another video right before New Year's. Love you guys. Thank you for being a part of my life, and I'll talk with you soon.